Hey everyone, it is Monday, December 4th, 2017, and it is time to go to work on music. It's been a fantastic day. I'm in a really good place and excited for a productive session as usual. Um, Now begins the time where I'm pretty much going to be working totally uninterrupted. That's the plan, barring the unforeseen, on music full time for the next about 4 months, maybe like 15 to 17, like 16 weeks, something like that. So I'm really excited. It's going to be a great challenge, and honestly, I think I've confronted like the worst of it already in the last few weeks as I've been adjusting to working full time, making some big mistakes in my workflow, dialing in my workflow, getting the balance of the sessions right. Of course, it's impossible to predict the ups and downs, but I'm on such a creative high with this record right now that I'm feeling really good, and I want to enjoy that. And I'll confront things as they come up. So the main goals for today are to dive into the online class front, move forward on that, then hit a quick drum practice, and then dive into the production front, track the drums for the first verse of this song, then spend some time editing the backing vocals to a reasonable degree to get them mostly rough mixed, if not close to final. And then going to check some of the guitar takes I've been working on, move forward with those, and retrack or track some new stuff depending on where I am. I may wait until all the drums are done and I've sort of fleshed out the song to start doing more guitar fills, but I'll keep you guys updated on that as I go. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys in a few. All right. Very, very good first half of the day here. Jumped into the online class front, moved a little bit forward with this Q&A webinar that the instructor did, just sort of reinforcing some of the concepts from the class and expanding on some of them. Honestly, didn't go super far into that because I had some other things to take care of, but it was still good. Moved myself forward and then hit a quick drum practice, just moving forward with the stick control book, making sure that I'm working on my coordination and my feet, and really just trying to get my bass drum chops like to the next level. So far so good there. Got back in with the metronome. That was good. Took a short break. I'm rereading Mixing Secrets from the Small Studio. Just more information about the difficulty of cheap ported speaker designs as monitors. If you get up into like the $1,500 and up range, then ported speaker designs actually are probably fine. But below that, you got to really be careful. That's actually why I use the Blue Sky monitors. I think they were like maybe 700. It might have been even less. It might have been like 300. I'll look back, but they've been amazing so far. Um, then I jumped into the production front and just started doing drum takes on this verse section, and it was interesting because I had a part fleshed out that I had really worked a lot on, and then the other day I went back and listened to it, and I was like, oh, it's a little too busy, it's not following the bass line enough, so I went and did a take that was just purely following the bass line, and that was a little awkward because the rhythm and the syncopation, and things just weren't gelling. And I was like, okay, I want something that's a happy medium. So I came up with a new part, and I was like, okay, that's kind of a blend. Did some relearning of it, and then as I was tracking, I don't know, I was getting into this zone where like counting it just wasn't working for me. I don't know what it was. So I started singing along with the track, really trying to lock in with the feel of the bass line. And that's when I started getting some really good takes. So I've been doing that with the drums, I've been doing that with my guitar takes, and maybe it's time for me to either change my system of tracking, or maybe it's an evolution, or maybe just have two different techniques that I can go back and forth between depending on what's working and what isn't. Or maybe it's going to be counting for really technical and fast sections, and then it's going to be singing for more groove-oriented kind of feel sections. I'm not sure. But I think I got some takes that are very, very good, so I'm really, really happy about that. And yeah, I'm just, I'm knocking this thing out, and it feels amazing to just make progress on a day in, day out basis. So I'm feeling really good, ready for a break for sure. Gonna have some food, and then jump back into the vocal and guitar fronts in a few. See you guys then. All right. Definitely a very, very good session overall today. After my break, I jumped back into the production front, did a lot of listening, started editing some of the background vocals, and I came up with some cool ideas. I did some good experiments. Honestly, it didn't really feel like any of the things I changed made the whole track sound better, which is funny. And I mean, I guess it's a good sign. It's a sign that I tracked this stuff well, that just the raw tracks, like panned and balanced a little bit, sound better than like with a bunch of reverbs and weird EQs and cuts and stuff on it. It's like, wow, guess I knew what I was doing. Now, I think like getting into the balancing phase of like, oh, I want to give the bass some more room by cutting out some lows from these backing vocals or whatever, or moving them back in the mix or pushing them forward in the mix, etc. Like that's, I think, starting to get a little too close to the mixing phase, and I'm just not there yet with the track. Like there aren't even drums tracked in the chorus, so how can I balance that stuff, you know? So I realized that it was a good mistake in a sense that I just spent a lot of time doodling around and realizing like, oh, I probably should have just left it the way it is. So that's a good lesson for the future. That'll save me a ton of time down the line. Then I started listening to some of the guitar takes. I was kind of just, I was a little cooked at that point, but I did some edits on it and kind of made them gel with the track a little bit. And yeah, I think I may end up doing some extra takes of the final chorus piece, which they'll probably warrant more guitar work anyway. We'll see how crowded it gets. But for now, I've got the idea sketched out, and it sounds pretty good. I mean, it sounds pretty good. I'm just curious, like, could it sound better? What do I want it to sound like? 'Cause it sounds a little thin right now, so I might try to thicken that up. From there, I was feeling pretty tired, and I wasn't sure if the guitars needed more tracking, so I avoided retracking stuff. It just didn't seem like the right time. I think I'll come back and do that tomorrow and just get a couple extra takes of the ride out piece and then kind of leave it. But really, it seems like as far as tracking goes, this song is getting close to completion, and I'll finish tracking the drums. If there's any other work I want to do on this specific track at that point, then I'll do it, like making some of the edits. But really, I'm starting to think that the best move as far as efficiency goes is to just track everything and then just let the track sit for a while, move on to the next tune, track everything for that, and then when I am ready to come back to the track after maybe a month or two of working on other stuff, I'll come back with a fresh perspective, and I think it'll just be much, much easier to mix and blend, and I can give my skills and my ears and my process time to develop over the next couple months as I track these other tunes. and then I can come back and sort of work some of that magic on this tune that I've been working on for a very long time at this point. So that's actually a really good feeling, to feel like I'm close to completion with the tracking phase, and this was sort of the time that I wanted that to happen. So I've got a few more sections of drums to do. That will probably take, I'm not sure, maybe another week or two, something like that. But it's you know, a few hours here, a few hours there. So I can probably comfortably start moving on to the next tune. So I'll think about that tonight, sleep on it. I'll come back tomorrow and make a game plan for any extra things I want to do right now while the track is fresh in my mind, and then I'll probably just start focusing my energy on the next tune, which should be fun. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys are out there grinding towards your goals, enjoying the process. That's what I'm out here doing. And let me know if you guys have any thoughts on anything I've covered in today's video, and I will see you guys tomorrow for more. Can't wait. You know, surprised I forgot about this actually, but I just remembered that at the very end of the session I still had some time left over, so I finished the vlog from 2 days ago, so I'm getting caught up on that, which is really good. And then I dove back into my songwriting class textbook and was working through some stuff and doing some exercises, and I'm just getting so much juice out of those exercises right now, and that's really where the magic of that book happens, is of course having the knowledge, but the knowledge itself is pretty simple. It's the experimentation and the application of these ideas, integrating it, realizing, oh wow, that does really make a difference, and this stuff is awesome. And I'm working on this section that's about making a song section with 2 different power progressions juxtaposed, and it's amazing how it really spices up these very familiar sounding progressions where you just think like, ah, that's so 30 years ago, you know, this progression. And then you put it next to a different progression, or even a progression that's almost exactly the same but with 1 or 2 different chords, and all of a sudden it's this fresh thing where you're like, oh wow, that's really inspiring. And I did a chord substitution, and then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, this is really happening, you know, and I was coming up with the melody and stuff, and I was really getting in the zone. And you know, the tools are not that complicated, but the thing is, like, if it's not on your radar and you don't really understand the nuts and bolts of that stuff, it's in some ways like you're sort of relying on luck for your creative breakthroughs, you know. I think this is like, you got a toolkit and you can just dig through the toolkit every once in a while and just be like, oh, what about this? Try this out, see if it works. Oh, it doesn't? Try something else, you know. So the more tools you have, the more options you have for inspiration, and it's fun, man. I'm looking forward to possibly integrating that into the next tune, and this is knowledge I've wanted to integrate for a very, very long time, so better late than never. Anyway, see you guys tomorrow.